Mike, why are these attacks in Saudi Arabia having such a dramatic impact on the price of oil?
Well, Anthony, out of the blue, literally 6% of the global oil capacity or global oil production has just been taken off of line. That's quite a shock to, I think, markets that have become quite complacent that there's plenty of oil out there, and this is a bit of a wake-up call.
Is this a short-term issue, or are there more long-term implications here?
Clearly there are both. So in the short term, what we really need to find out is how much of an impact this is going to have on Saudi ability to produce and keep exporting, and what kind of timelines we're looking for. So the initial indication is 5.7 million barrels a day of Saudi production is offline. They're hoping about a third of that can be back within the next 24 to 48 hours. But the big unknown is that other 2/3, are we talking weeks or months in terms of bringing that back on? So that's the crucial short-term issue. Longer term, this really reawakens people's sensitivity to what we always used to know, which is the Middle East, which supplies the vast majority, or a significant part of the global oil supply, is a very unstable world. And this complicates the situation quite significantly. You know, we now have the Americans and the Saudis pointing the finger at Iran. We're hearing talks about potential military responses. So this really opens up Pandora's box from a long-term perspective.
Increases the geopolitical risk as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, some people are calling this a game changer. How do you see it?
Well, it could be a game changer in the sense of, I think up to now, people have been very sanguine that the oil is there if we need it. People have been focused more on downside risk. People have been focused more on what happens if we have a recession? What happens if U.S.-China trade goes off the rails? They've been looking at demand destruction in oil. I think what this does is it re-injects this notion that there's not only asymmetrical downside risk to the oil prices, there's also now a symmetrical response where things can go up as well.
The attacks were obviously unfortunate, but what does this mean for Canadian energy producers?
Not to capitalize on other people's misfortune, but this is obviously a huge win for the, a huge positive for the Canadian producers. Again, we don't know the duration of this. If this is a thing that's mopped up in a matter of a couple days or a couple weeks, this could just be a blip. But if it is something where meaningful portions of the Saudi oil supply are offline for several months, this is enormously positive for the Canadian energy space. And I think what's really important to remember too is this is a basket of stocks that are, sentiment is abysmal. These stocks are very underowned. Valuations are very low. And if we're looking at oil prices in the $60, $65 range or higher, many of these companies can produce very dramatic cash flow results.
Mike, thanks for your time.
Glad to be here.